Hello, chat. Hello, hello. Silver 3? Oh my god. Okay, am I gold finally? No, silver 3. Okay. A projectile will start silver 3, just like I ended. Haha, hee hee, ho ho. Did I even complete the last one? The hell? Hello, chatterinos. Greetings, salutations. Oh my god, I need this. I need this. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Hold on. We were just talking about why I'm so broke. And then I get on Rivals and the first thing I see are these skins. I definitely want the Iron Fist one. Oh, he did it off a car? Hello? He did that off a car? Yo, I like this fit for him. Obviously because skin is showing, but like it looks really good. I like the pants. Yeah, I really do like the pants. And he has like special. Oh wait, he has different I like how it's loading in because they're loading shaders. Oh, you can make it red too. Oh, now see, I am such a green hoe. I would rock green. I would rock green so much. All right, so there's that one. We've seen that one. Then there's. Oh, it's because it's loading shaders. This is so good. Like, oh my god, wait, I can afford one of these. I can actually afford one of these. Oh, which one do I get though? Do I get the Iron Fist one? Well, okay, I can't get the Iron Fist one, so I think I think it was made up for me. I think it was made up for me. I think the decision was made for me. What is this skin? Fist of Khonshu. Whoa, he has no head. Whoa, wait, no, he has no head on this one. Does he even have legs? Oh, he has legs. He has no head. Whoa, inspect. He has no head. He's just a body. He's a mummy. That's why. He's a mummy. The wrappings. I just realized the bandage wrappings. Whoa. No, this is a sick skin. Kinda. For like. Is this his MVP? Oh, it is. Oh, that's kind of cool. Pigeon Man got buffed, didn't he? Did he get buffed? Did Moon Knight get buffed? I'm just looking at the skin. It looks so sick. You know what I can get though? Also, hi Web. You know what I can get this skin, but to be honest with you, I'd rather. And I know it's not like the full thing with his MVP and stuff, but like I can get this skin. Wait, can I get this one too? Moon your nights. I've been moon knighting no matter what. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just that I've gotten so used to Cyclops. Like yesterday, my last game was on Moon Knight, I think. Yeah, my last game was on Moon Knight, and that brought back the game for us. Like that legitimately brought back the game for us because I was able to just like throw shit in and it just bouncing off of everybody. I'm gonna get this skin, but I think I can get this skin if I get 100 more of this, and then I can get the full bundle. I think that's what I can do. Hold. Am I close to getting more of those? Hold on. Wow, speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. I am kind of interested in the hood, but also I really like the skin. There are two skins right now that I really want to get, and one of them I can get right now. The other one I can't because it's like 2,000 and I only have 1,600. I guess if I saved, I could do it for Iron Fist, but it'll be my second Iron Fist skin. And I barely play Iron Fist. It's like I barely play Iron Fist, so it would just be, I feel like it would be wasted currency for now. I mean, I still do play him. I think I just have to get used to... What do I have to get used to? Okay, so there's 100 right there. Hold on. I'm counting down stuff. You get a free 100 here. Okay, Web, have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. Can you get these if you're not? Oh, it's only luxury. Damn. Imagine if I had this bot and I could just spam this and get the other skin. Are the other summer skins out too? I don't think they are. Wait, can you purchase a premium? Can I purchase a premium? It's only 1,000. I don't think I'm that interested in this one though. I will let him know. I will. Excuse me. I wasn't clearing my throat for anything. I promise. I felt like there was something in my throat, so I just had to clear. Why am I explaining that? I sound guilty. Oh, this is back. Wait, this has been back? Oh, I didn't know that. Do you get stuff from here too? I haven't played this in so long. People having a party. How long is this around for? Is this just permanent? I have 99 of those. Holy shit. Oh, clear extreme for the first time. Defeat the hidden boss in extreme for the first time. Oh, so there's a... Oh. There's so much currency in this mode that I did not get yet. Damn. Hi and bye. There he is. I was like, now watch me miss the shots. Okay, I'm gonna do something really quick because I can do it. Store. Man, these skins look so good. I mean, this looks cool, but these look... Anyways. Also, Damian Priest says... The hood, crazy. Show the Iron Fist skin? Hold on. Oh, well, we've already seen this one. Here, I'll show you Iron Fist. Look at this intro. Ah, my fucking butthole just like puckered up on him. I mean, what was that? That's crazy. Like, he looks so good in this, right? The hair, the jacket, the pants, the sneaks, everything about this, like, it eats. I like the spikes on the shoulder. It comes in 3 different colors too. It comes in blue. And it comes in red. And his ultimate ability gets a different VFX. The only thing is, for all of that, it's 2,200, which I do not have. But I can get this bundle, so I'm gonna get this bundle for. I'm gonna get this bundle for Hood, since I can afford it. Yippee! Aha! The fact that it's Damian Priest voicing this man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I quite like Damian Priest. He is, as the people call him, cunty taker. If I showed you a picture of Damian Priest, maybe you'll understand why. I'm like, you know what? Yes, I understand. I should make him the... Hold on. I love Daredevil. I love you and your large package. But... The fact he's a tank too. What? What do you mean the hood is a tank? What do you mean he's a tank? What do you mean he's a tank? That's wild to me. Oh, he has a purple one? Oh. Okay, that looks kind of cool, actually. Wait, what does this default one look like? You can tell my DPI is low because I'm struggling. I'm struggling to turn him. I'm struggling. Oh, let me turn it up if I do that. You can tell I just like doing that in games. That's such a good emote. Oh my goodness. Replace that default ass one. What the hell? What the hell? God, he looks good. He looks good. He's part of the strike squad now. I'm gonna go into practice really quick because I want to see his stuff. I want to see his stuff really quick before going in because I know, I have a feeling I'm not gonna get a chance to actually play him. I have that feeling.
They're gonna find out how much chaos I can cause.
Oh my God, it's Damian.
Well, looky here.
Wait, does he not do headshots? Oh, he does. Oh. Okay, you know what? That's crazy. It's gonna be hard to hit headshots in that, apparently, because like... Oh. Okay, so you own up enough for that, and then...
Expected better.
Double kill. That's 3.
Shadow.
That's his shield.
5. That's amazing.
Wait, what does this do? Oh, is that his shield? Hold on. Let me look. His right click. Spread your cloak to form a spherical barrier blocking incoming enemy attacks. Okay, so that's his shield, and then he has the veil, which is also a shield, I think. Throws a magical spear. First pistol shots passing through. Generates more demonic energy. Bullets from blooded transformation. Gain increased life steal. Oh, he has life steal too. What? He has life steal? Oh. 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 He has life steal. Oh. He has life steal. Oh. Oh. In this pack. Oh, he has 2 different team ups too. One with Wanda while launching them towards the hood. Control effect. Hold on, I want to see which one do we have on. Do we have Wanda? Oh my God. Oh my. That goes kind of crazy.
Wow, 4 in a row. 5. That's amazing.
All right, so hold on. Let's see. If we did.
It's you and me, Bruja. You want to make a little magic? I got
Double kill. That's 3.
Oh, you can exit out of that mode too. Whoa. Okay. So
Did you miss me? Courtesy of the hood.
so I can shield like
Wrong side.
Double KO.
oh my.
That's 3.
So that means the next one.
Wow.
Oh,
4 in a
that's
row.
kind of
I came
nuts.
for blood.
Actually, it's kind of nuts. Let me see. I want
The streets are ours.
the Moon
Knight.
Knight one.
Let's make 'em
So,
bleed.
oh, it's just a passive.
Time to the moon. Expected.
Wait, I
blood.
didn't read that one. What does Moon Knights do? Abyssal Veil. Enhances an Abyssal Veil into a lunar barrier that blocks projectiles. Upon breaking it, it detonates, damaging enemies and applying damage and heal reduction. What? What? Hold on, that's not it. Enemies passing through take damage and are briefly blinded. When teaming up with the Moon Knight, the lunar barrier has greater shield value, and the hood's attacks that
Well,
pass
looky
through it
here.
gain a bounce effect. He's a tank. This man is a tank. You dance right now. He's a tank. This man is a tank. His team ups are crazy. His Moon Knight one, I think, is probably my favorite one. Maybe because I play Moon Knight the most.
Your voice and breath. Courtesy of the hood.
Double KO.
So his Moon Knight's one is more of a passive, and his one with Wanda is more of a.
It's you and me, Bruja. You wanna make a little magic?
And his team up with her is more.
Save the street.
Oh, it does do damage at the same time.
Wepa.
Wepa! Oh my god. I feel like he's a dive tank. So like. So out of all the tanks that I normally play, right? I play 2 big shield tanks. And the rest are like dive tanks, kinda. Well, she's shield, but I don't think her shield is all that. Okay, when I use it, it's not all that great. When everyone else uses it, it's fine. But like, dive, can be dive, anti-dive. I think they can be dive. Definitely dive. I don't think he's dive. I think he can be dive. I think he's dive. Shield tank. So like, okay, if I have this right, someone's gonna probably correct me. Shield. Hybrid? But not really. I would say he's more hybrid because he has a big shield that actually blocks. And keeps everyone behind him protected, but I think it breaks fairly easy. I think it breaks fairly easy on Devil Dino. Brute shield, dive, definitely dive. I think he's a dive. I don't know how big is the shield again? How long does it last? Press your cloak to form spherical barrier. Oh, so the more energy you have, the more his
There you are.
shield expands.
The end is coming.
I'm just trying to expand it because I want to see how small it is at first.
Best.
That's 3.
So you have to do damage with him to really get the most value out of his.
4 in a row.
Expected.
Wait, what am I doing that for when I can just like?
5. That's amazing. 6 in a row. Way to go.
I see. All right, so he no longer has shield at that point. Yeah, his shield no longer applies at that point. He has like a natural block. Interesting.
Courtesy of the hood.
Interesting. All right, well, here's the deal, Pickles. We're gonna try to get him. We're gonna try to play as him. I don't play tank that much, but he's definitely not a solo tank type of dude. He's definitely not a solo tanker. He's definitely someone you co-tank with. He's definitely that. His abilities are crazy though. I want to see both the Moon Knight one and I want to see the Wanda one in action, like in a regular game. This is a bot match.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I knew it.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
Ah, look at, wait, do I have a team up with Hood? No. Well, we get to see the team up with that person's trying to get Hood. We get to see the team up at least between him and Moon Knight in action.
There's no escaping Khonshu's wrath.
He also has skin. I think every person,
Get ready.
I think every person who
You're holding back, Remy.
look at him go.
Gambit used to be free as the
Look at him go. Connecting.
bigger than himself.
It's a bot match. But I just want to check out.
Want to protect
Hey CJ, hello.
You fight harder.
She don't need
We
Battle
are
starts in 5, 4,
we're about to have a great time,
1.
I think.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
A gift from Khonshu.
Double KO. That's 3. You need me.
Not him going all the way around it. I knew it. I knew it immediately. Is he the only tank? He's literally the only tank. Oh, she got out of there. Sadness.
Keep going.
Alright, that feels better.
Actually, maybe this is not what I thought it was. Where is this fucker?
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Barely passed your exam again? Oh no, I'm sorry.
Atlas.
On your toes. Here they
Vehicle
come.
reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Very much. Good night.
He said good night. Because his name is Moon Knight?
That
Of course.
feels better. A gift from Khonshu.
A nice deep freeze. Double
Listen, you can go into ice form, but let me tell you something, brother, sister, dude, Jack. I will use your ice form.
Keep going. That's 3.
Save for me, we.
1 second. I know he's going around.
A gift from Khonshu.
Is he above? What the hell?
Double KO.
Triple. Ooh, baby, a triple. They go.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum. Ice up.
Man, I'm just hearing nothing but Damian Priest talk to me. Hello?
We won't stop until the tapping is stopped.
Rise and fall.
No, they got rid of my fucking thingy.
Nice deep freeze.
I told you I was gonna miss those shots.
The wounds are gone. Thanks.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Don't let anything stand in your way.
Oh my god, the gun. Sorry, brother.
Great. Now my fists are all slimy.
So close. This is your big chance. I suck.
A gift from Khonshu.
Excuse me.
The moon haunts you.
That was a fairly easy game. Back to the grind, it would seem. You know what? It'll pay off. I believe. It'll pay off. The Wanda one might be a lot stronger, maybe, because it really depends on people walking through. Moon Knight one depends on people walking through a bit more, I think. Like, for them to get blinded and so forth, unless you throw that shield or you throw that veil. I said veil. I don't know why. Unless you throw the veil close enough to them where they walk through it. Also, excuse me. Which makes, which blinds them as well. That's what I'm thinking. But you're still gaining, like, the usual stuff. Oh, yes! I believe. This might be a Moon Knight day. We'll see. Level 14. Right in front of my salad.
Pick your hero.
Kidding.
Or villain. I'm not judging.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
I knew someone would have the Moon Knight team up on. I knew it. Go on, Dream Villain. Go to... There we go. Yes. Everybody wants to play the Hood. So I'm sticking to Moon Knight today and seeing how that goes.
There's no
It's either
escaping
Moon Knight
Khonshu's
or
wrath.
it's... Well, Moon Knight would make sense for
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
the team up.
You are facing enough battles already, Jubilation. Perhaps you
Jubilation.
No can do it.
Look at him go.
If I stop fighting, I've got
I don't know if I'll
deal with
ever
what a
get
mess
tired
my
of
life is.
seeing that.
Right now, I'd rather just blow stuff up.
And a positive spin
I'm
on the
certain that
score.
can be
I got the funny
arranged,
number
but
69.
you
He
can-
Battle starts in
Why
5,
did he swipe
4,
at me?
3,
What the hell is
2,
wrong with him?
1. All you need to do
I'll
is
eat your
capture
ass,
the mission
bro.
area.
Don't play with
Got it?
me.
A threat against
I like how that's a
crypto
threat.
is against
That's a threat
all
I throw. Someone's gonna take that threat and they'll be like, "You're threatening me with a good time?" Actually, no. See, exactly.
Thank you very much. All right, that feels better.
Anyone willing to help? Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. The mission area is yours.
Vengeance is mine. Well done, my son.
I like when they group up like that because it's so easy to. I can get shit from there, apparently. Are they all just going down this one passageway?
A gift from Khonshu.
I seem to be unprotected.
The power of the thank you very much.
Oh my god! No one turned around to heal me, so fucking Deadpool just kills me. Thanks, man.
Get up, my fist.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Teamwork.
Yo soy el final.
Yes, Damian Priest. Do the thing. Angela Bassett did the thing. Never mind. I can't do anything with that.
Khonshu, watch
I
over
can
me.
heal.
The wounds are gone. Thanks.
What are you aiming at?
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Thanks, Mion. They already passed the halfway point. And we had them like on the ropes for the longest time. Well, what happened?
You are nothing!
Love battlefield medicine. A gift from Khonshu.
Oh, I have my ult. I can't believe we're at 99% on this.
Back where I
And
started.
we're about to lose. I can't believe we made it to 99%. I have to make it back there.
Going to overtime.
The moon haunts you.
I am ready to put on a show.
You gotta be shitting me, bro! Eat my fucking asshole, bro!
Yo soy el final.
Ah! No!
Yo soy el final.
Well, I know about that. It's the matter of getting them in the right spot and other things.
The hunt is on.
Jubilee, are you healing? No bad manners. Actually, I wish I could see what Jubilee's healing is at. My damage is okay. It's just... It's
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I'm the only DPS.
Upon the red rock of Mars,
I am the only
built my
DPS.
church, and from it I shall erase all organic life.
I am going to enjoy taking you apart, Ultron.
You know, yes, I can solo
One
DPS. That's
bolt
fine.
At a time.
But it feels like DPS is going slow because
The battle starts
we have
in
3
5,
healers
4,
and not
3,
another DPS.
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area.
We shouldn't have
Got
lost
it?
that first round.
People thought I was powerless and couldn't make a difference. They were
And
right
couldn't make a difference.
about who I
Yes.
used to be.
Uh-huh. Ah! I'm sorry, I'm screaming. I'm going this way, brother. My friend.
There, ahead. I found them. Thank you very much. Phew. Almost didn't make it.
The mission area is yours to capture now.
A little pity of
Come on, capture the mission area.
You know what? Listen. so hard to do that when
Still not dead.
that was mean from tank pull. No, it was just mean from everything. I'm not getting much help.
Shields up.
Oh, nice.
That feels better.
I can't see. Hey, he says that in the ring too.
They've almost got it.
Gift from Khonshu.
Watch your back. Control C's.
I'm frozen. It's really hard.
Gift from Khonshu. Yo soy el final.
Cheesecake? What kind of cheesecake? I wish I could do more.
Guess Khonshu's got my back after all.
Wish I could do more. I think you should use the Wanda one. Honestly, there's a Wanda team up. I think that's pretty busted.
A gift from Khonshu.
Because they can throw out an orb that deals damage at the same time. It's sickening.
Well, you can't.
Just vanilla. Oh. I still need to try cheesecake, honestly. My mom buys them, but it's like from... It's from like, like the local market. The local grocery store. Hey, it's me. It's your boy, SVP. That means I did my part. Let's see about the healing. Oh, we got a Cyclops at the end. Yay. Okay, is it giving you that disk space error thing, or like not disk space error? It's like a different error they give for it. I had to uninstall it and reinstall it today. Like I woke up, I turned on my computer knowing that we had. I'm gonna give him a like. Huh? It should. So, okay, with this update, they're supposed to be lessening the size of rival. Let me check how much my rivals is right now. Let me check. Yeah, they're supposed to be cutting down. Yeah, it's 80.3 gigabytes. So this update might be big, but afterwards it's supposed to lower the size. Yeah. Supposed to. Before, Rivals was over 100 gigabytes. If I remember correctly. What am I looking for? Strike Squad. Alright, so looking at these two, also I'm gonna pause this. Looking at these two team ups. This team up is cool. Because it's an actual shield. If people walk through it, they get blinded. And of course, shooting through it as Hood gives him more energy. Shirtless in this rock. Shut up. Shut up. All right. I like looking at men. All right. Like looking at men. Shirtless. So this is a cool. You had to uninstall. That's fine. What was I saying? All right, so yeah, this one is cool because it's actual shield, and once it breaks, it does damage, but it also blinds. This one, you throw an orb, and it does damage to them. I think it also has life steal. Oh, and they can teleport to the zone center.
Got you. I'm outta here.
So yeah, both are really cool, but I think I might like the Moon Knight one, but I think the Wanda one might be more. If you're trying to go for more damage, that is, more tank like would be Moon Knight team up. If you're not looking to dive, at least, because I feel like he's a dive tank, kinda, in a way. In a way, he is. Can be. What do I have a thing on? Is it Moon Knight? It is. You know, that game probably took me up to Captain, yeah? It took me up to level 13. So my next one would be level 15. I'm very far off from that. I'm very far off from that. Well, I might be a little off from that. If I play him a lot today, maybe. Maybe. I'm not gonna lie, that would be on Cyclops first. Not gonna lie, that would be on Cyclops first, because I've been playing Cyclops so much. I feel like Moon Knight is easy because his bounce is crazy. I kind of want to change the character I have on this screen. Hold on. All right, for the first time, because he's out, and this is the only way I'm going to actually get to see him. This is the only way I'm going to be able to get to see him. Hawkeye? Let me see. Duelist. I've been thinking about Hawkeye as well, but he requires so much precision, and I'm not. That's a lie, actually. Was it this one? Where he looks like Eminem? Oh my god, hold on. I didn't know he had a mid drift out like that. Hold on. Hold on. I didn't know he had the mid drift out like that. I've just been distracted by his hair. I'm the real shitty. Actually, same. That's so. Let's talk about this for a moment, all right? Eminem back in the day was absolutely the most like toxic rapper you could ever like lay your eyes on. Yes, yes. but like the photo shoot, and I was just like, you know what? Yeah, he can choke me. At least he didn't like age to look like ass. Like, he doesn't look bad. He still looks good. I think he still looks good. Personally, I think he still looks good. But back in the day, oh my god. Chokehold. Chokehold. Every shirtless pic I was here for. I was here for. The Stan era, yeah. Do I have any cosmetics for him? I don't. What cosmetic would I get for Hawkeye if I played Hawkeye? I don't think there's one now. I mean, I guess I would also get this one too. But does he have a, hold on, does he have a current one right now? Like battle pass one? No, it's the last one. No, was it? Maybe. Hold on, let me see. Who's on this one? Yeah, Mr. Fantastic. That's Iron Man, Namor. That's Venom. Cloak and Dagger. Rocket. Oh my god, I saw a YouTube short about Rocket Raccoon's vengeance against a squirrel girl, and it was so funny. He stopped healing the team, and he would just go to spawn and camp the hell out of Squirrel Girl, and it was so funny. And they did it documentary style. They did it documentary style. Oh, it was so funny. I was like, I'm not gonna try that, but like, I support it. Oh yeah, I want this Deadpool skin. That's what it is. He looks hot. I'm sorry. In that skin, he looks hot. I don't care. In my favorite genre of content. It was so funny. I think I posted it in my FC's Discord before I like conked out. As I thought, into one of these days. You think I'll be able to get a hold of
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Red Hood? Or Red Hood?
Hood on, guns out, let's go.
Actually, I'm not gonna change because they... God! Hello, Wanda? Lord Wanda? Damn, bro. Damn. Damn. Why for a bot lobby? I don't know. I was actually gonna change it to Moon Knights. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna change it for Moon Knights, and I guess they saw that I went Hood and had the Scarlet team up on, so that's why they went Scarlet.
It's you and me,
And I just stayed on
Bruja.
it
You
because I
wanna
didn't
make a
want
little
to.
magic?
I didn't want to waste their time on that.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds.
Oh, his melee is kind of. His melee reminds me of Emma's.
Check out us with the matching magic capes. We looking good, Bruja.
Yours is far more than a fashion statement. It is a curse.
I
It is
don't
a
see it that way,
curse.
Mommy. In fact, as far as I can tell, it's a blessing.
It's a
That's exactly
blessing.
what he wants you to believe.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3.
Hey, what if I go
2,
this way?
1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Wasn't personal.
Perhaps you are the leader you claim to be, Matilda.
Heifer.
Adios, muchachos. Wasn't personal. Punisher's upgrading his arsenal. Through the board. Did you miss me? There you are. That hit the spot. Who's got the big guns now, part one?
Can you tell, like, going against flying enemies with full auto is my weakness? All right, that was on me. How's the VA for her? Or some of its deliveries? It's rough. So far, I think it's okay.
Ain't ready for oblivion yet.
The line I heard a little earlier did sound a little rough, but I think this is Damien's first time in a VA role. I think.
Perhaps you are the leader you claim.
I think this is his first time like as VA for anything outside of like himself in WWE games, but
Just who Gambit would look.
from where?
Double KO. I take everything.
Yo soy el final.
That's 3.
Oh, they have a Johnny now too? What the hell?
Only 60 seconds left.
Yeah, I've noticed some of his deliveries are a little rough.
We are undefeated.
But I don't really expect much. I think it's really cool that he's doing this.
Watch me soar. Down to 30 seconds.
Try to get out of there. No one came to help me with this guy. I think with the right directing, he'll do good. Honestly. Yeah, I think with the right directing and everything, he'll be fine. Some of his lines are really good. Some of them are a little
Another epic victory.
but it's fine.
Win.
I don't think it will because he's doing AAA right now. Yeah, he's doing AAA. Wrestling schedules are very, what's the word I can use for that? They're very chaotic. Excuse me. I mean, if you know WWE and AAA, their schedules, unlike with AEW, they are incredibly busy. They're like on the road a lot. So, but I think the difference between now, if like Damian Priest got this gig when Vince McMahon was still in charge of WWE, it would be damn near impossible for him to get time off, do this, and then go back to wrestling. Like they would have to like write him off in an injury storyline. Oh, I just realized someone has the Gambit one. What was I saying? Oh yeah. They'd have to write him off in like some injury storyline or some way. Have him do the lines, come back like full time, and then probably leave again the next time he has to do lines. But Triple H, I think, has been a bit different with how he handles people's schedules, like allowing people
The right
time to go
heroes
home to
can make all
fam
the
and
difference.
do stuff and, you know, kind of get out there.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
All that jazz. Why couldn't they get someone like Nolan North who can mimic practically anybody? Do you know in Destiny 2, when they couldn't get lines for the Drifter because he was busy,
They'll be coming in
Nolan
30
North
seconds.
took over
Stay
as the
calm.
Drifter? Did you know that? because he was already the ghost.
I know you, kid.
Like he
I think
replaced
I've kicked your ass before.
Probably. My beginnings were humble. But my power's grown since then.
Once a street thug, always a street thug. A cape doesn't change that.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3.
Nathan
2,
Fillion was
1.
Cade. And they got someone different for... Actually, no. They didn't get anyone for it. It was Peter Dinklage for the ghost at first. And then they replaced him. I'm being fucked. Can I get heals, please?
Could use some healing, Khonshu.
Shit. Damn. So yeah, it was Peter Dinklage as the ghost, and then everyone was very displeased with how he handled the role because he sounded so disinterested as the ghost. Yeah, he sounded very disinterested. So what ended up happening, they got Nolan North.
Wait, I didn't put that on there. A gift from Khonshu. All right, that feels better. You don't hold back, Rogue. I like.
What the hell is hitting me, bro?
Chin up.
Thanks.
Rise and fall.
Yeah, Nolan North is so good.
Stop them in their tracks.
I don't have another Ankh.
There, ahead. I found them. The wounds are gone. Thanks. The moon haunts you. Only one of us gets to play with Khonshu's toys. Rise and fall. The moon haunts you.
Not today, Satan.
Vengeance.
Did he get out of it? Or did I get the Moon Knight? Did I get the Moon Knight? Hope I did. Bitch ass. Moon diff.
Beware.
Thank you very much.
Bitch! Oh, fuck you.
Battlefield medicine. Sorry, no wants for you.
I'm opening a portal. Oh, he's doing that thing where he has a... Did he just miss every shot on me? I think he just missed every shot on me. I showed him the real goon haunts him. They have a Spider-Man? Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Rise and fall.
That's crazy. Hella is right there. It's not me, get him! I was too focused on Strange to see that she was there.
After all.
What's my damage right now? Oh, I'm low damage. I'm missing more shots though. That's the thing. Like, look at my accuracy. It's so bad. I gotta rein that in. Oh, no wonder. What the hell? Who is?
Down to 30 seconds.
You very much.
me, bro. Get off of me, Jubilee. Jubilation. Fucking Jubilee just trying to like track me down, bro. You are not the hunter.
Needed that, thanks.
I need to put my onks in better spots. He is not a merchant. I need my onks back. Oh, that's very unfortunate.
There were enemies here.
Wait, did the Moon Knight switch to Bucky?
Needed that, thanks.
Resistance is futile.
Rise and fall.
I'll patch you up.
Yo soy el final.
Don't mind me.
Rise and fall.
Well, I got Hella. Spider-Man farted. Kill him.
Come on, Khonshu. Let me rest.
I'm missing so many shots.
Only
I gotta
60
become an
seconds
arm
left.
player. That's what it is. So I've been using my wrist the most of the time instead of like arm. I think that's my problem.
You stopped them in their tracks.
I have ult, so speaking of being an ult merchant, hey.
The moon haunts you. Thank you very much.
Down to 30 seconds.
You don't hold back, Rogue. I like.
You stopped them in their tracks.
All right, that feels better.
Double kill. 10
How
seconds.
many gods are there?
Feast for my crows. Taking it all. Crows.
A gift from Khonshu.
Those guys are about to shoot at us.
You got 17 final hits on Hawkeye. Hell yeah. Look at you. I'm so proud of you. I did not do much that game, honestly. His Q is very good. Yeah. Like, really good guys who are Hawkeye mains, who probably were Hanzos in Overwatch. I'm not gonna lie. I think everyone who plays Hawkeye at some point played Hanzo, and they were like, you know what? I see a guy with a bow. I'm gonna use him. So, yo, look at my accuracy. Our whole accuracy is just bad. How this guy have? Oh, I know how they have 91% because it's easy to do that. You want to get in, Boogie? Boogie. You know that's your new name, new pet name. Want to get in, Boogie? I'm so dumb. I was trying to say Pookie, and then it came out the other way. What is this notification from the Discord? Oh, okay. What do they fix? Oh wait, they fixed the thing with OC where if you're in a vehicle or on a mount, and you as a passenger, if you're riding with someone and you go through one of those like wind turbines, not only do you get kicked out, but you get stuck. Like there's a chance you get stuck. And the only thing you can do is return back to home base. You did play Hanzo in Overwatch? Yeah, see, I think a lot of people who played Hanzo, they came over to Rivals and they were able to grasp Hawkeye like immediately. Because Hawkeye plays a lot like if I go into practice real quick, let me know when you're out. I'm gonna go into practice real quick. I'm not a Hawkeye main or Hanzo main. I tried him like once or twice and I was like, I don't know if I could play Hawkeye, let alone Hanzo. Where is he? There he is. Beautiful, man.
Enough with the arrows. Time to give the old sword a workout.
Heads up, back guys.
Another one for the good guys.
Because my whole thing is, you want to sit back here.
Never miss.
Wow, 4 in a row.
KO, KO, KO.
5. That's amazing.
Darkness and light.
Oh, that's right. You can use his.
Never miss.
Way to go. Unbelievable.
Here's
Yeah,
your
you
last
just.
target. Not with this
It's the
arrow.
same with Hanzo in Overwatch.
Double-edged sword.
Feeling exposed.
I never miss. Sonic boom. Move all you want. I'll just aim where you were. Huh. 3 straight.
I think every Hawkeye does this. I'm not gonna lie. Every Hawkeye I've seen, it's just this. They just sit back there and then.
I never miss. Can't dodge this one. He knows where to get. KO.
Perfect balance.
Yeah, they're just like that. And I'm just like, what? Kill him. You said Psylocke? What does Psylocke's thing do?
Keep those psionic arrows coming, Psy, and I'll keep them firing.
Psionic? Oh, wait. Is it like his E?
You're too loud.
Oh, wait. Is that his E?
Hack and slash.
I missed. I missed again? Oh, my God. See, that's why I can't play him.
Double KO.
Woo! Never miss.
That's 3.
Punch in the hole.
Wow, 4 in a row. 5. That's amazing.
Hack and slash.
Alt fire? Oh, that's right. He has a different one.
Full volley. Woo!
I didn't mean to do that.
Never miss.
Double KO. That's 3.
Nowhere to hide.
Wow, 4 in a row.
Rapid fire.
5.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well, today I learned.
Looking sharp. Psionic arrows.
Double KO.
Actually, hold on.
Please give me a challenge.
There's a better way to test this. I'm doing it on those, but I could have been like right here. Does it matter the range you do this at?
Psionic arrows. Nowhere to hide.
Double KO.
Armor piercing special. Heads up, back guys.
So this is low.
That's 3.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah, I
at
earned that
that
one.
range, it's like instant. Is it also instant at this
4 in a
range?
row.
So at 30 meters, it's... Okay, never mind. Now it's being instant.
6 in a row. Way to go.
Purple's
I'm just
not
gonna-
so funny now.
The wind arrows for flying characters? Oh. Okay, yeah. That's what I'm guessing. Because it felt weak. Not gonna lie. It felt weak. It felt like I could... It felt like I needed to do like 3 or 4 of them. If you land it right, the wind one grounds them. Oh, I should have tried that. Let me try that one actually. That's Bucky. There he is.
A psychic upgrade. Don't mind that one bit. We got company.
Does this have a cooldown normally? All right, so flying character like this guy coming up.
Nowhere to hide.
Oh!
It's too
And then you just
easy
fuck him
when
up
you
like
never
that. Okay,
miss.
that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm still mad about that first game where we were at 99% and then we lost. That's racist. How dare you? I can't believe you. What the fuck? No. Also, do you like my title today? This is a very important question. Do you think that the hood has a turtleneck? Or nah? You don't think he has a turtleneck? You don't think? There's a lot to this question. There's a lot to the phrasing of this question. I put a lot of thought into this question. Looks like he's stanky. No, he has a neck. What the hell? That's a neck right there. God, he looks so fine. Oh my god, he looks so fine in this skin. I love the hair on this. Hold on, I just want to point out the hair on this skin. Delicious. Excuse me, I am burping so much. My bad. The hair is so good. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking Red Hood. Maybe that was their response to Red Hood from DC. His story is kind of... Is it tragic, really? No. Something happened. He came across this cape, and now he can steal people's powers. I think that's like the canonical thing with the hood. He has a cape that allows him to steal other people's powers. Sometimes. Yeah, it's like his story is not like all that great. But he has... The one thing that I saw people excited about was the fact that he had the devil gun. And I was trying to figure like what the hell is that, because I'd never heard of the hood before his addition to this game. All right, I'm gonna do one while we're waiting for, or if Pookie wants to join after he's done. I don't know how far in he is. He's in Ironheart? I'm gonna look that up. Oh, you're out. Get over here. Get over here. You want to get in voice? Oh, can I just let y'all know? So, Parrish and I were playing Fortnite earlier. And our first game, we're like, it's okay. I mean, I can tell we didn't talk at all during... We typed, but we didn't like vocally talk at all during Fortnite earlier. So we didn't get in voice chat at all. Normally we would, but we didn't this time. And our first game, he died, and then I killed like one team on my own, trying to get him back to like a truck because I went the wrong way. And then I got jumped by Homer Simpson and Keanu Reeves. It was the same Homer Simpson, Keanu Reeves that we faced earlier. They were trying to kill the Homer on, but we're like, all right, fuck it. We'll see them later. We ended up getting third. Yeah, we killed the Keanu on that team. But Homer had his reboot card. And I was like, I know this is gonna come back to bite us in the end. I think it was the Simpsons version of Keanu. I think they both were like, it was Homer and it was a practice run. Yeah, it was a practice run. I felt like I knew that was gonna bite us in the ass eventually. It bit me in the ass because they rolled up on me like it was no one's business. And they're like, gotcha, bitch. They fucked me up. They both fucked me up. Yo, no, for real. After that third place, we went back-to-back wins. We were doing so well. We slayed. All right, I'm gonna queue us up. We did so well. Like, we were landing hella shots. Is this our bot lobby game? No, good. Thank God.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
Everyone has the Moon Knight like team up, except for like a few who has the what you call it, the other one. Give me a character to learn. Shit, that's crazy. I have to think. Is there any particular role you want to practice in more? Like Vanguard, Strategist?
There's no escaping Khonshu's
Duelist?
wrath.
30 seconds before you
Not
attack.
really? Oh my god, it's Eminem. I'm your biggest fan. I'm your
You're
biggest.
not the only one who can handle
Oh,
a
he moved.
sword blade. I used to be Ronin, remember?
Go, 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 go. Anyways, what? Who said that? Okay, if it were
The battle
Vanguard,
starts in 5, 4, 3,
I'm gonna say
2,
Captain America.
1. All you need
I don't know
to
if you've ever practiced with Cap, but
I like the code.
they're not getting close enough for me to use this.
Thank you very much.
Double kill.
That's crazy.
For Steven,
Oh, I
one
got
for
3
Jacob.
on that. What the hell? I need heals, brother. Thank you. I appreciate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who do we appreciate? Us, baby, no money. He's always up to something.
Bad guys.
I don't know why I said it like that. Oh, they have a Punisher. Crazy. That's crazy. You said that they made his bounce stronger. You fly, bitch. You fly. No, get closer. Get closer. Get closer. Get closer. Okay, we're just gonna leave the payload behind. That's wild. That's wild, actually. I can't believe they gave such a buff to that. I'm sure people already thought Moon Knight was annoying, but like, damn,
Let's
bro.
get beneath the surface and finish no.
I think he's hard to use because it's not like an instant. Yeah, but also like, I really enjoy playing Moon Knight overall. Moon Knight, okay, it's funny because the 2 guys on Duelist I like playing the most. Okay, pop off. Okay, boo. All right, I see you. You saw that? The double. I like playing Moon Knight anyways, but I do think you can get a lot of value out of the Wanda team up.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up
This
the
is very
momentum.
boring
The
gameplay.
surface and finish null.
Well, it's not even like putting down annoying things. It's more like the bounce ricochet effect that both have, because when you look at it, right? Oh my god, I got fucking doing.
I like it cold.
Rise and fall.
I don't think any of that is hitting.
Face oblivion.
That's it. Don't let anything stand in your
Damn.
way.
Guys, can I play too? can I also play? I'm not getting MVP. I'm letting you know this now. I'm not getting MVP. I'm not getting MVP.
This is your big chance. I don't have to be such a big.
I hate that I just got fucked by Jeff. I hate the fact I just got fucked by Jeff.
You need me.
I hate it. I think this is also because everyone else is up there. I mean, all the other DPS can do their thing, but I feel like the healer should be back here on this fucking payload. Not me! I did nothing! I literally did nothing. I feel sad. That game made me feel sad. I was just there as an accessory. You know who gets my he gets it. And I'm giving myself one. And I'm giving the hood one. Well, yeah, I think Cap. Healers, I would say Adam. Oh, let's see the highlight. All right, hold on. Is it gonna show the double he had?
I am
Oh, okay.
Dr. Order.
Oh, that was it. It showed the double though. All right, we go back in. The sex on the screen right now? Oh my god. Oh my god. There is a level 2 on the other team. I'm scared. I'm scared. You know what that was?
The right heroes could make all the
Blade?
difference.
Blade is a good one, actually.
I tear through the cloudless night.
Do you see me
just
giving
like
the
moon.
team up opportunity? Oh, he has the Wanda one? Do I want to play Wanda? Jubilation. I might as well just be shooting. You know what? You are so right about that, honestly. Who is going mofo goat healer? Who in their right mind sees like 3 DPS and goes, let me add a 4th?
There's no escaping Khonshu's wrath.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds.
It is
Stay
you
strong.
hold T, and then if you have it on your will.
Ready to bust some sweet moves on the battlefield? I could teach you the choreo.
Nah, I'm good. I prefer driving to reggaeton over stepping with some
I saw that.
princess.
I love all genres of music. You'll have to show me some of your favorite hits.
Oh my god, I realized that I
Okay,
could double
mommy,
jump.
But I think you
The
can
battle starts in 5,
riding with me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Hack and slash.
Here they come.
As long as we stay focused, nothing can stop us. We've got a shooter.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
All right, that feels better.
No, I lost value. Where'd it go? Wait, did it already get taken out? That's crazy.
There's still a chance to stop them.
They took out our one there. Ahead, I found a kill.
I got fucked up. Wait, really? Oh yeah, because someone left her as like the sole healer.
Come on, Khonshu.
They hit a
Let me
checkpoint.
rest.
Now might be
And
a
then
good
someone
time to
left.
stop them.
I was sitting here like, why did I forgot who it was? Someone went like Cyclops, and I was like, out of the 3 other DPSs you just saw, what made you think it was a great idea? I got fucked on that one. Oh, that's how he got me.
Guess Khonshu's got
Yeah,
my
they
back
left.
after all.
But like, oh, it's the Cyclops. That's like, what made you think to
Can you
go
turn around here?
Cyclops
Halfway. Stop them.
instead of a healer?
Get ready.
Like, what made like the guy? And then there's one person who isn't playing at all.
This is Captain America. The moon haunts you.
That's very unfortunate. Yeah, I was gonna say, be selfish.
There's still a chance to stop them.
I've come back from far worse than that.
Perfect precision.
I mean, it still went off. I didn't mean to actually hit that though. That was not the thing I wanted.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
Oh, kiss my ass, bro. I can't do anything. You go back to Hawkeye. I'll go healer.
Far
I forgot.
worse
There's
than
a
that.
team up going. Never mind.
Better stop that vehicle.
Or if you do go back, I'll just go healer.
Right there. Oh, wait up top.
Ow. Oh my god. Okay. I fell off. Oh no. Do you want to go back to Hawkeye? You can. That's fine. I can't really do much. I'm noticing I cannot really do much.
I am ready to put on a show. Well, you can't expect to win them all.
That was. And dive with DD, I can't. The game was over. Brother, I have never seen. No, actually, I have. I can't say anything. Was the guy? He didn't leave, right? Oh no, the tank got replaced too. Brother. Yeah, like for some strange reason, people sit there and they're like, oh my god, I see 2 to 3 other DPS. And then they go, let's add a 4th. And I'm like, what do you mean adding a 4th DPS? Bitch, go healer. We were here before you, bitch. Back of the line. I'm sorry. No, I'm not actually. Fuck them. Back of the line, bitch. Poor ass motherfuckers. I swear. Sorry. Anyways. Hi. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here. Oh my god. Simps, you want to join? Sure. Here, I'll back us out. Are you on? Do we even have you on Rivals? Oh, I do. Oh my god! It's Sufa. Sufa-san. He is probably playing... Oh, he's not playing with Jay and he's probably playing rank or something. Actually, are people playing comp right now? They probably are. I don't play comp because I don't have the aim for it, nor do I want the salt or pressure of playing comp. All right, launching us. Yeah, the one healer left. I mean, I've done that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've absolutely done that. You leave me as the lone healer with, for some reason, 4 DPS. I am not doing that. All right, I guess I'm healing, or I am tanking. God damn.
Open your eyes. Reality is but an illusion.
Who is this? Squirrel Girl? The face I just made? Oh my god. The face I just made. I hope the other team...
Magic is not the
Okay,
only
normally I don't
invisible
do this,
force
or
in
I don't
play
say
here.
this,
Open your
but
eyes. Reality
I
is
hope
but
the
an
other
illusion.
team
30 seconds before you attack.
has
Get ready.
a rocket. I hope the other team has a rocket.
Kate's been worried sick. Where have you been?
Oh my god, look at him!
Yeah, I'm not gonna even pretend.
Look at him
I know what that
go!
meant.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
That shield is
3,
big as fuck.
2, 1.
Oh yeah, we've seen that
Capture the mission area.
before.
Got it?
I go out that door. I'm so dumb.
Who has 2 thumbs that blast fireworks and an insatiable hunger?
There you are. I have tagged a foe. Hunt them. Good medicine.
I'm missing every shot possible. There we go. Get out my face, bitch.
Double kill.
Power beyond sight.
Is that Adam in front of my solid?
Power beyond sight. The sniper was no match for me. I am strengthened. Power beyond sight.
That vehicle to its destination.
There's someone behind us. Oh my god! Wolverine. DR? Oh, that Strange isn't a healer?
The sorcerer supreme.
Probably. I was like, DR? Like, wait. Whose initials are DR in this game?
Ionic magic. I don't. Good medicine. No match for me. Power beyond sight. We shall protect this sacred Wakandan. Nothing here. Suspicious. This feels empty, yet somehow dangerous. I am strengthened for battle. Power beyond sight.
Logan, please calm down.
I am ready to put on a show.
Oh my god, this bitch.
By the eye of Agamotto.
Get him!
Of course you needed help.
Norm, was that wrong? Yeah, sure.
Beware, a sniper. I am
Oh my god, beautiful.
Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum. I'm easy picked. Attack him here.
I saw another guy.
Totem before I decide to keep it for myself.
I hear another one. There he is. Wait, who was that behind me doing that? The hell?
good medicine. An unseen assist.
I did that too early.
Don't let anything stand in your way.
Where is this woman at?
Sniper was no match for me.
No!
A nice deep. One touch of healing.
Bitch ass.
The mystic arts won't fail me again.
So close. This is your big chance.
Can you tell how long it's been since I've played Strange at all? Is this theirs?
I am ready to put on a show.
Jesus Christ. I just got jumped. I need my ult. That's what I need. I need my ult.
Hands are shaking again. Focus.
Yes. There's a setting to change the color scheme. Like, you see how I have mine where everyone is still green for my team, but like the other team is yellow? Yeah.
Wreak your creative destruction here. Good medicine. Our enemies are near.
Perfect precision.
I'm getting bullied by Moon Knight. I have ult, so let
I have
me...
unfinished business here.
Take everything.
did I get just portal play? Oh, you're so right, actually. How does the portal work? Is it like F start and then?
No match for the sorcerer supreme. I'm opening a portal.
How does it? Watch me do this the fucking wrong way.
A shortcut through space.
Okay, well now I know how it works. At least.
By the shades of the seraphim, I return.
I was the distraction for that little bit.
You're welcome. Enemy core detonated. Only 60 seconds left. Ionic burst. Time.
We shall protect this sacred Wakandan statue. I am the moon haunts you. Our enemies are near.
I am ready to put on a show. Down to 30 seconds. Perfect precision.
Ionic magic.
I gotta get back on the thing. No, no. I tried to get on there. Like, I had no chance to pull off the ult.
Can't expect to win them all.
I had no chance to pull off the ult. Like, none. The plan was I was gonna come back. I was gonna pull off the ult. And maybe we just walk it back in, but I had no chance. Maybe on the portal play I could have done it, but they were like prepared. They were like prepared for that. So I was just like, oh, I can't. I can't do that. Who gave me the upvote at first? Was it? I forgot who it was. Here, just everyone gets an upvote. All right, hold on. I'm gonna back out so that Parrish can do the thing. So for the accessibility stuff, it's in settings, accessibility, and then custom colors. So you can do enemy color is yellow, green, blue, green, orange. Need it bigger and clearer. I think you can make it bigger. Oh, you need it bigger and clearer. Wouldn't it be? Is it other? Sorry. Do they not have an option for that? Or am I just crazy? It would be in display, right? I'm hot all of a sudden. Or would it be here? It should be here, right? The nameplate UI is so tiny. I feel like they should have a UI setting, right? Am I just going crazy? Oh, wait, is it this? No. Would it be this? It's only color. And focus on the yellow. Yeah. I thought maybe it's like something different. I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought that maybe they had like a UI change type of deal. Now for all enemies. I think it's probably just those who are in your view that they pop up for. And then they just kind of fade off in the distance. Something like that. That's your first time ever playing Jubilee? Oh. I remember my first time. It did not go well. Yeah, the way I have it, it's just like if I have enemies as a different color, I think that helps me. Because at some point, it became really weird to distinguish who was enemy and who was all right. Do we just go back in then? Okay. Lego. Yeah, I'm sorry that last game was rough. That last game was rough. Oh, that's a bot match.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
They call me D-Tongue now, but Daredevil will do.
Yar. Oh my god. Should I give... I was gonna say, should I give him the... He switched to, what's his name? Okay. We'll see. We'll see how that works out, and then...
I'll take iron chains over an iron fist any day.
I remember someone told me the Iron Fist one was good, but I don't remember how it was good.
Different partner. We're around the same age, and we were both given unimaginable
Do you know this is the
power.
first time I've
I can guide you
played
down a brighter path.
Daredevil
You think I just
since
walk
the
away?
the summer skin first
Give up
dropped?
everything I've built.
It seems to me you've already given up more than you realize.
Then you don't get it.
The battle starts in 5,
I'll take
4,
even more.
3, 2.
Is this a new map?
Well, looky here.
I need assistance. Power of the light force.
Oh my god, dude. I was like, what the hell? What is this map? I thought this was that one, like... I thought this was that one, like, fuck. What's that one? What's that other one?
Not yet.
I saw them jump on a platform and I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Better stop that vehicle.
Yeah, I saw them jump on this and I was like, if I tried that, I would not do well.
Stop them.
Back to my old self.
I'm forgetting so much of how to play this guy. This is an X-Men map? Oh boy. Jubilation map. I see a healer. That's not who I wanted. Okay, never mind. Daredevil's better. Hi, Steven. Hope your day's going well.
My spirit still lingers on this plane.
It still feels weird, I think.
There's still a chance to stop them.
Never mind.
Better stop that vehicle.
I don't drown in the darkness. You're on my radar.
Friends, gather around.
Oh my god, other Daredevil got me.
Never miss.
I'm doing all right.
Double.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm even recognizing
We got
whose heals are supposed to be like the most powerful ones in this game. I think people were talking about magics, right? At one point. Ooh, that's not good.
You're on my radar. Let the devil out.
But she wants to be DPS. What do they have? They have
They hit a checkpoint.
Jeff and
Now
Cloak and
might be a
Dagger.
good time to stop them.
Who do we have? Cloak and Dagger and what's her name? Oh, Mantis. Mantis. I have to remember like hero villain names sometimes. Because I feel like I don't see Mantis enough.
I feel vulnerable. Glad to help.
I'm gonna have to change off a Daredevil though. Maybe go
I don't forget.
You're on my radar.
all right, I'll go what's his name?
Double KO.
Go Fish? They should be healing. Okay, you know what? If I have to, I'll go at him.
Forms, dear Mantis.
Whoa! 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 What the fuck? What the fuck was that?
Here come the bad guys.
Get in here, y'all.
Look at this place.
Yeah, actually, you know what? You're right. Maybe I should just go Fish. I'm not doing it. Or not Fish. Out of.
I can feel the presence of the goddess all around us.
Here's how you shoot. Usually you have to
Glad
lead
to
the
help.
target. Not with this arrow.
It isn't your fault, Mr. Robbins. You were never truly in control.
Quantum magic. Our bond strengthens. Some assistance, please.
Whoever just did that right when I did the kill is the enemy of the state.
Our enemies are near.
Let the devil in this together. Your fate is sealed.
Double KO.
Yo soy el final.
Oh, someone wasn't that close to me. I'm sorry. That's my bad. Fuck, where are they?
I am at your service.
Down to 30 seconds.
We are in this together.
Co-op time. The final 10 seconds.
Born again!
Nowhere yet. Going to overtime.
The cosmos heals you. Second chance is over.
3 seconds for my soul bond.
Healing power. Our bond straight.
Another epic.
Yeah, that was on me on that one though. I was trying to. The thing that sucks about the thing that sucks about Adam's heals is that they have to be grouped up. Unless I use what's their name? Unless I use the other team up, then I can heal with my secondary. But that requires aim. So much aim. That requires so much aim. Someone else went Daredevil after I left Daredevil. Crazy. Watch your highlight. Okay, hold on. Where are you?
Punch in the hole. You look like never miss. Usually you have to lead a target. Not with this arrow. Nice.
I didn't know you could shoot the trail. Hello? I didn't know you could shoot the trail on that. That's crazy. Well, Swoop said I can watch his, so. You wanna watch mine? You can watch mine too. We're gonna watch mine after. Hold on.
By the hoary hosts of Hulk.
Feel no shame in defeat by Dr. Strange.
You should watch everybody's highlights. It's cute. You know what? You are so right. I know it's a bot lobby too, but
From the one below all.
did it feel like a bot lobby to you, or did it feel like it was just low level players? Or your friends? Yes, I agree. Oh no, he tried to avocado. He tried to avocado. All right, let's look at mine. You can watch me miss every shot. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
You deserve it. Back to my old self.
Wait, did I get? Oh yeah, I chased him down.
On the hunt.
It's when I chased down Bruce. And then I got that guy. That was so funny, actually. That was actually so funny. Oh my god. You would never see that in a real game. I promise. Yes, you would actually. I am so bad. I am so bad when it comes to that. Oh, you need to pee, my bad.
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not
Go
judging.
pee. You have time. Like, pick your person and then go pee. I will go.
Be wary. No
Be wary.
timeline exists where Magneto. Be wary. No timeline
Oh!
exists where Magneto yields.
I didn't know I had this. Oh damn. Oh damn. Who said that? Who said that? He bullied a twink. It's okay. My twink also bullies me. It's okay.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Have I told you I've not played Magneto since 1972?
Word on the street is you started out your career as a criminal. That true?
Yeah, I made some mistakes in my past. But the Avengers gave me the chance to prove who I really am.
Well,
This reminds me of that one mod I've seen where it's like the underwear.
Battle starts in 5.
It's like the underwear.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the
All right, here we
mission area. Got it?
go. Oh, Parrish is back. Yay.
I'm gonna need some serious
What? It's
retail
like
therapy
really.
after
It's
this.
like really cursed underwear. Do I want to
Look out,
shield?
bad guys.
Take that.
Ooh, free shield. That hurts.
Wait, what am I doing? We're going to point. Fuck them.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Oh, I should have did the other one. I didn't. I'm dumb for that.
Capture the mission area.
All of them jumped on
always
point. That's the
rise
crazy
again.
part for me. I have to remember Magneto stuff. It's been so long since I've played.
You need not fear.
Oh, hello.
Much better.
Damage sustained. Need assistance.
Is that a Black Panther?
You cannot hurt me. You shall not be harmed.
Get him. I thought I hit shift. The 97 underwear. Something like that.
Your team's capture progress has
All I know is that it's a wild thing. I'm gonna have to go strange actually, because I'm not really comfy with Magneto right now.
You are under my protection. I feel like myself again.
Damage sustained. Need assistance.
Nice.
Control seized.
A fox enters, enemies scatter.
Because BP. Blood points? What the fuck, Venom? I fucking missed.
You need not fear.
Oh, because of Black Panther. No!
Control lost.
Nah, yeah, he's still there. I was like, BP. Oh, yeah, sorry. My brain did not
Is a mutant's greatest gift.
focus on that. My brain did not compute BP into Black Panther for some reason. I just. All right, I'm changing from.
Feel a familiar
Oh wait, I have
close in
alt.
the
All right,
air.
I'll have to use alt and then I'll have to change after. Get me off, Magneto. I also don't like that his thing is like, it's more of a projectile instead of just insta. I guess the same is with the same with Strange, I guess.
Go ahead, Mags. I know this is the part where you lecture me for signing up with Apocalypse.
I shall do no such thing. You are free to make your own choices. You're a grown woman after all.
You're a grown woman after all.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is
If they still have
capture the
BP,
mission
then
area.
yeah, no,
Got it?
I'll go thing or something.
I grew up.
Oh,
in
we have a
community.
blade.
Tiger Division has become my home.
It seems we have company. Your attacks are futile. You are under protection.
The mission area is yours to capture now.
I just wanted to get rid of it because I want to get off of. Because I want to get off of Magneto.
We have done well. You shall not be harmed.
Extra shielding.
Tremble before fast. Do that again.
He was able to escape that? Crazy.
You are under my protection.
All right, well, they gave me a reason to change finally. Ba, 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 ba. I think we still need a shielder at least. I don't think the thing is gonna shield us. Maybe Bruce.
Let's hope the Hulk is
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Oh my god, I forgot. You have that thing with Hulk.
Well, looky here. Wouldn't mind some protection. Feeling exposed.
The area is almost yours.
Face oblivion.
Nowhere yet. Going to overtime.
Fucking die already! All right, we're good. It's literally no one just. See, that was me with.
Hulk is feeling inspired.
That felt like me. 15% for 2 minutes. Oh no.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Oh. Oh.
Can't see me.
Do you ever hear that voice in the back of your mind, Blade? Like you're being, I don't know, summoned.
Sure.
Yeah, do that.
Call it is hard to resist.
If it really comes down to
But
it,
it's
do
up to
that.
us not to give in, no matter what.
Yeah, I know. But it's hard.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
I'm trying to think where it is here.
2,
I just
1.
Can I be honest? I don't even pay attention half the time to the map.
Capture the mission area. Got it?
I think there's one up top here.
I've rested enough for the both of us.
Like, I think there's one above here.
That face needs smashing. Our next victim. Yo soy el final.
Here's how you shoot. Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
I need heals.
Us against the world.
Yippee! We're back. One second.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man.
Grateful.
Oh my god, he is so weak.
No smashing us down.
No! Dude, I feel so... What's the word I'm looking for right now? I feel very... What the... I couldn't reach there in time. I'm so sorry.
They got behind you.
Over, sleazoid.
I heard someone up here.
Us against the world. We got company.
No smashing us. Yo soy el final.
That's on fort. He went behind like a thing, so I couldn't like... I didn't know where would be a good point to like jump in or jump on him at, I guess.
Not quite ready for transformation.
Still juicing up.
Your attention, please.
Yo, that hurt. They've almost got it.
No smashing us down. Thanks, Machine.
Nowhere yet. Going to overtime.
Don't mess with the amazing.
Control C's.
Gambit never falls.
Never miss.
Man, this sucks.
Nowhere yet. Going to overtime.
It's okay, I can get in there in time, I think.
Time for a blow.
Okay, he's dead. Oh, because he got off the point. Okay, well, we won that from him making a dumb play. Yippee. I want to play DPS, but everyone's... Well, outside of us.
Epic victory. Big win.
You want to take a break? I would say it's almost time for me to get off, but I started late. think we started at like 2:30-ish. Yeah. It's okay. I understand. You could take break. Go take break. Go take break. I appreciate you playing though. I appreciate you. Yeah, it gets a little... Oh, I just forgot I turned off music. Give me a second. Yeah, I think there's also like too many people who want to be DPS and they go on a healer, and instead of healing, it's just like, I'm talking about the randoms, like going in and just, yeah, when they should be focusing on healing before, you know, like making sure everyone is topped up at least. Yeah, it gets it. No, it gets that way. It definitely gets that way. Launching us in.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
Yeah, like I'm mostly a DPS guy, and I honestly cannot. I mean, I guess I've played all three, but like I was more in Overwatch, I was more support. I'm glad you enjoy it, but no, I get it because it's like, okay, it is the equivalent of just being very competitive. That's all.
Whoa.
Actually, it's not even the equivalent. It's just
sidekick,
it's just being competitive.
A lot's changed since those days. Maybe too much.
Maybe Crash Out Central.
You to end up on the dark side.
Well, being a vampire and a horseman of apocalypse tends
The
to
battle starts in 5, 4, 3.
No, that's real.
2.
That is so real.
You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Is anyone gonna try to flank? I hope not. No one died from that. They have hella hills over there. Oh my god, they have fucking... So they have a Spider-Man as well. I see. I was not expecting Spider-Man on this map, I guess.
My back after all.
I mean, I guess it's a good Spider-Man map.
A gift from Khonshu.
Look at this place.
The wounds are gone. Thanks. On your toes. Here they come.
Oh, I didn't know he was still in our back line. Oh, what's her name is up there?
Did you miss me?
Still not dead.
I may have to take a rain check on... I may have to take a rain check on being Moon Knight for this one. High key. Because they have Spider-Man.
Needed that. Thanks.
Hello? It feels like I'm aiming straight into that group and there's like nothing going on.
Found one of our targets.
Some uninvited.
A gift from Khonshu. Found one of our targets. Love battlefield medicine.
That's just not where I wanted it, brother. I clicked it 40 times. I hear him behind me. I heard him behind me. I'm fishing on my break. You know what? That's so real, actually. You know what? I fucking missed. Ah, kiss my ass roll. All right, I'm not hitting any of that, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm doing. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, I'm using that headset.
I've come back from far worse than that.
I'm not using that headset. My headset just like did a loud buzz. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, that hurts. That's not fucking good. Wait, huh? Oh my god. Why is Luna back there, bro?
Come on, Khonshu. Let me rest.
Don't give them another inch.
Can I be honest with you? I want to switch off Moon Knight. For the first time, I actually want to switch off Moon Knight and go Namor.
From the skies and seas.
Like literally for the first time. I don't mind giving them the team up, but that was so fucking annoying. Oh my goodness, that was so bad. Oh, I didn't mean to fucking leave. I didn't want to leave, but oh my god, I didn't know we went 4 DPS. I was just like, I'm dying a lot. I'm dying so much. I didn't even stay. Oh, that was stressful in so many ways. Well, I guess I'm for Daredevil, I guess. Damn, that man is so hot. Anyways. Is there another one I have? Or was that it? That was it. I'm not hitting Lord Moon Knight anytime soon. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not hitting that anytime soon. All right, back at it. Yeah, that was the first time I wanted to go Namor. To get rid of...
Could make all the difference.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
I'm so happy I do go Moon Knight because I'm noticing that there are a lot of people who are playing the Hood and they are using the team up with Moon Knight instead of Scarlet. And I wonder if it's because they keep running into Moon Knights instead of instead of Scarlet's. I don't play Scarlet. I'm sorry. I just think she's too...
There's no
Aiming wise, she's
escaping
too
Khonshu's
easy
wrath.
for damage.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds.
But so is Moon Knight,
Stay
actually. So I guess I mooted my point.
I know you.
The Moon Knight
kid.
one is better.
I've
I
kicked
think
your
it's
ass
good
before.
for shielding.
My beginnings were
But I think damage wise, the well, and the blinding is good
Once a
too.
street thug, always a street thug. A cape doesn't change that.
you about
The
to
battle starts in 5, 4,
Oh, what?
1.
That's crazy.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
Actually, wait, I can go right here. I'm gonna let him have that spot.
There you are.
Do they have another Spider-Man?
Very much.
Damn. I had 3 people come after me after that? Oh, Wanda. Okay, I get it. Yeah. That's crazy though. Over Wanda. Over Wanda. Okay, so their team is Spider-Man, Blade. They have Loki and Angel. Thank you. Cap and Venom. So they have 2 divers for tanks.
Begone adds
Great.
HMPH.
Rise and fall. Love battlefield medicine.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I think I got Spidey with that. I think Loki's thing is...
Get up. my
Yeah, I don't like the ads on
fist.
Twitch. Hi, Angel. How are you? As you can tell, I'm back in my Moon Knight shit. But I'm also supplying the team up for every hood we see. Even if it's not that great. Like, I'm not doing really great as Moon Knight, I don't think. Get off there. What's wrong with you?
Thank you very much.
Oh my god, Blake. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go Namor. I'm sorry, Hood. This is the first time I'm like, I can't stand it. I can't stand myself.
Chance to stop them.
Never mind. Someone else went Namor.
They got it.
I'll stay Moon Knight.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a
I see
good time to
Blade.
stop them.
Or I saw Blade.
Needed that. Thanks. Rise and fall.
All right, cool. I'm going healer.
I can feel the presence of the goddess all around us.
The cosmos heals you.
Thanks.
Nature's on our side. Some assistance, please. I feel better already.
It's now or never. Stop them.
We're in this together. The cosmos heals you.
They're sneaking from behind.
Good medicine.
This is not good. I need the other team up.
The cosmos heals.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Oh, it's not even that like the team ups. It's just these games have been rough. Out of nowhere, they've just been rough. And the comp has been terrible. And so have the healers. I shouldn't say every healer, but like most of the healers we've had have just been, it's been so bad. It's been, I don't, you never hear me complain about team stuff, but like, oh, you got fishing expert? Okay, hold on. I get you. Well, the thing with Namor is that he has the squids that he can put out, and that should handle someone like Spider-Man. Should handle someone like Spider-Man, like that's his counter. But you also have Blade, who they buffed recently, or fairly recently. You found it? All right, cool. I'll say it's like through here, and then there's something around here. I forgot already. Oh, customize title. Actually, I need to put on mine. Oh, look, I have so many fantastic ones. Chronicle expert. Tide rivals. I feel like there's another one that I had. I'm gonna equip this one. I just like it. That's all. But yeah, it's been a lot of just really bad team comps and people not willing to actually play like a team. That's pretty much what it's been. Healers have been healing, being healers, I guess. I don't know, not really. You and Chad will have a surprise. What squids? I didn't see a single squid that game. Then they were a shit Namor. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They were a shit Namor. If you put me on Namor, what the hell? It was sent via Discord. What the hell? If you watch any of my Namor gameplay, I religiously put out squids. Any chance I have, I put out squids. Because that's what you have to do. You have to put out squids. If you don't put out squids, you're not doing anything. You're shit. You're terrible. I'm sorry. That sounds bad. For someone who has shit aim. But like, that's Namor's whole thing. That's literally Namor's whole thing. Is putting out squids that defend against like all that other bullshit. But yeah, that's Spider-Man's counter is Namor, and they just did not play him correctly. That's all. That's all. Webb can tell you, he actually thinks I'm disgusting for playing Namor. He thinks I'm disgusting. He looks at me with disgust anytime he sees me play Namor. But he's like, you know what? It makes me want to unfriend Nord, literally. And then he sees how I play him. But I'm like, dude, if people keep picking Spider-Man, if people keep picking Spider-Man against me, what am I gonna do? Just let them do what they do? No, fuck that. Eat my squid. Eat my squid. No, fall over here. I guess at times I know how to play the matchup, and that's it. I mean, I know how to aim, but I know how to play the matchup. Let you in? Okay. Webb, are you joining too? Or is it just, it's just Angel? Here we go. Oh my god, we have a professional healer. You get it? Not that you get it. All right, let me know when y'all are ready. You know, launch is in. Oh, okay. Hold on. Practice range. Oh, excuse me. We don't have that much time left. I just realized. I started a little late. Okay, what's the surprise? I'll pick him for this.
My fist is feeling stronger than granite. Triple shot.
Okay, what is the surprise? Oh. Oh, I've seen. Never mind. So I should ask you the same question. Hey, do you think the hood has a turtleneck or nah? Think about this carefully. Think about this question carefully.
Yeah, I earned that one.
I made this the most Twitch appropriate question possible. Norm, zoom in. What am I zooming in on? I can't zoom in. How I can't zoom in.
Purple's not so funny now, is it?
Is it twitching? Oh, it is.
Another loser to punch.
Oh, I think it is. I think it's jiggling. I think it's jiggling. A little bit. Can't really tell. At least he has a great ass. Okay, let's go. His is not as well. How do you do sprays? Same thing. Press and hold T, and then it should give you sprays when you're in game. I didn't know you could do this at the lobby. What the hell? Yeah, press and hold T and just scroll over till you see sprays. All right, I go in. We'll do like a few more. Make up for my lateness. And by lateness, I mean at least we're getting actual games and not these fucking bot matches. Oh my god.
Team to win this one.
I cannot tell you.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
Will this guy change to the Moon Knight team up or stay with Wanda? I think some people feel the Wanda one is a bit better. I think both can be equally good, honestly. Oh, we can switch. I can go healer and you can go looter, man.
No escaping Khonshu's wrath. I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
Look at the
30
Gambito.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Oh, you didn't have to say that because I don't have a... No, I cope. No. I'm gonna do the cloak and dagger one.
Out of the dark and into the light.
Thanks. That means a lot. Even some of my fellow X-Men are acting like
Look at the
damaged
emojis.
goods.
Yeah, do I have a spray on him actually?
Battle starts in 5.
Oh, I don't. Well, I just have that. My bad.
2, 1.
I don't equip sprays like I used to on Overwatch. 1 second. Hi. I always do that. I don't know why. Oh, they have a Hawkeye.
That feels better.
I'm sorry, there was a tree right here. No, they got rid of my fucking unk. They got rid of my unk. I got slowed on that one. What were they pointing? I lost my unk. I'm so sorry for it. I lost my unk, bro. What the hell? Actually, kind of do miss my uncle. I love that as someone who's really into computers, you always got like bitch. I have another one. I'm kidding, I don't. Where is this heifer at? I'm pretty sure that is... Oh, it wasn't. What the hell? Who is that Bucky? I'm sorry, wait, do we have a Bucky? Oh, we do. What the hell? I was trying to sit here and figure out who's in Santa Claus suit. I'm also coping right now. If I don't get... Okay, I'm on my way to 10,000 damage, but if I don't get 10,000 damage in the next like 2 minutes,
Bonjour.
The wounds are gone. The moon haunts you.
well, that was to cut them off, I guess.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
Incoming. Glad to help.
Well, the Hawkeye's dead now. Damn. Getting told the Hawkeye may be cheating some pop off. How? I haven't noticed anything.
Set you up for the win.
Also, all my deaths have been by like a final hit from someone else, so I haven't been able to see a replay for him.
Never miss.
What if I chat? Okay. They just kind of like gave it to me.
Almost didn't make it again. Something here worth looking at.
Day hitting real hard.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
There you are.
Both of them were dumb.
Youch, that hurts.
Both of them.
The moon haunts you,
Again, no skill shot.
Got eyes on one of them.
Yeah, I see her. Girl, please. Come through my window. Never mind. passive, right? Oh, no, never mind. It's different. I thought it was passive. I don't know why I thought I didn't think I had to press C. Okay. Well, today I learned. It's the first time I'm using it because I'm normally using the other one. Thanks, brother. Is there someone behind me? Oh my god, it's her. I'm like, is there someone behind me? It's a dash. I see you.
Get up, my
Yeah, I saw when I don't know why I said see. I saw when I hit it. Yeah.
Some healing, can't you?
I didn't mean healing. I meant something else. Nice to. I got one from the grave. That's fine. Okay, that guy may have killed me, but he also got killed. So it's a trade. Not even the DL trade, just a trade. Gonna be easy. There was nothing I could do there. The black cat was indeed annoying as hell, and there was nothing. Whoa! Kit Connor's gonna play Cyclops. Okay, also Kit Connor is such a cutie. I love him. From Heartstopper. I'm happy for him. I'm so happy for him. He seems like a nice dude. More reason for me to thirst after Cyclops. No. All right, let's see. What was my damage? 13. I didn't do shit. What? I can't. It should have been me. It should have been me. Oh yeah, it's bot lobby. After 20 years, we finally got the bot lobby.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Where is he? There he is.
Hood on, guns out, let's go.
I'm gonna try hood. I'm gonna try hood here. Sorry.
If country wants to give me his blessing, I ain't gonna complain.
I ain't gonna complain. You know, I feel that. I feel that, brother, dude.
30 seconds before
You know me, I don't like plants. Look at him. He looks so cute.
Hey, Jubes. Ready to make with the paff?
You bet. And you even got the automatopoeia right.
Of course I did. I know exactly how annoying it is when I go thwip and someone says I went pew pew.
God, look at his
You really
titties.
took that a lot
Just
more seriously than I
they are
expected.
there.
Battle starts in 5.
They are there.
3, 2.
All right, it's time. Where the hell are the other team? Oh, there they are. I was like, what the hell? Oh, I have fucking dinosaur on me. I was like, huh? What's going on? Why am I hurting? I was not paying attention. Nice. And this is why I like the Moon Knight one.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
I can't see him. You know, that's what you gotta do. You gotta pump them full of lead and other substances. If you're into that, that is. If you're into that. Get that twank! Bully him! I didn't mean to put that right there. My bad. I wish I could, like, take it back. All right, there we go. Wait, is there someone behind us? Bitch, if you don't get your ass back here, oh head ass. Oh, I thought that was not. I didn't. I thought that was theirs. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was the enemy team's Spider-Man. They have an Ultron?
You get a weapon, you get a wet.
He died immediately. Have that shield.
Another epic victory. Big win.
We need 2 more human matches for me to end stream on. Oh my god, DPS Luna! Get the fuck out. No, I'm kidding. Oh my god, DPS Luna! Crazy. Only has 7, damn. I was missing so many shots. Wait, you cooked? Hold on, I want to see. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I want to see you cook. I want to see you cook. I think this is also when you have competent teammates. You know, like everyone eats. Everyone eats. Actually, I have a bias against Luna Snow, and I'm kidding. Oh my god! What did you do to the Jubilee? Jubilation. How could you do that? Oh my god. All right, let's see what DPS Luna did. Guys. Oh my god. What did she do? Yeah, I agree.
Another hit for Luna Snow. I was worried.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted him to go through the shield. I really wanted the AI to go through the shield. I really wanted the AI to go through the shield. I really wanted them to do that. All right, well, we watched theirs. Let's watch the Angels.
Spider-Man returns. Lifesaver.
Hold. Cooking. Getting ready. Oh my god. All right. Yes, the dino. Oh, uppercutting. Nutting. Okay, got him. Yes. Okay, couldn't do that one because, you know, Jubilation got fucking murdered. And then got the Gambito. Oh my god. No, I get it because mine were earlier. All right, let's see me cook. I didn't really cook, but let's see me cook. Oh my god, look at all those shots I missed. All right, Gambito. And then this bitch right here. She died. Yeah, in her bikini. It does happen a lot. Oh, I didn't take my cough medicine today at all, but they also say take it as needed, so I haven't had to really take it until now.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
You know, if no one else is gonna play him, I'll play him.
Let's go.
Well, yes. Well, yes. You know, listen, I talk about Nut a lot, okay? It's because I really do like the Nut. This pleases the Nut. Do we have a Squirrel Girl? Oh, we do. So, you know what? You saw that there's a team up for me with Moon Knight and you decide to go? Squirrel Girl? You are dead to me. I love Nut. Nut is great.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I saw the switch because there's like 3 healers and I'm like, 3 healers? Damn, I just got fucked. Wait, I think I'm solo tanking. Hold on. I can't solo tank as fucking this guy. This guy's not a solo tank. I'll try one more. But I'm definitely switching.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay, yeah, I have to change. I'm sorry. I can't solo heal or solo tank this with them. Fuck me. I guess I'll go Devil Dino.
They made it halfway. Stop them. Better stop that vehicle.
Me, I just want to try the hood, and then no one supports me on tank. Or I don't get like a code tank. Oh, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah.
They hit a checkpoint.
Like,
Now might be a good time to stop
so
them.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I started out on hood, right? And then
Someone called Dr. Strange.
Better stop that vehicle.
oh, thanks.
Stop them.
But I can't solo on that one. I'll go back to since Snoop's finally changed.
If Khonshu wants to give me his blessing, I ain't gonna complain.
Tandy needs help.
Don't give them another inch, or else.
Is there only solo heals? We haven't killed anyone, but like the makeup was kind of just really off, and the one person that didn't want to yeah, no, the comp was just ruined from the get-go. Like one tank and then just goes someone else just goes DPS, or the random goes DPS. I'm sending us back in. Oh. At least the song is chill.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
You know, sometimes you can call people a slur. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Put on, guns out. Let's
I'm
go.
kidding. I'm kidding. Where am I? I feel like every time I play a competitive game, I get closer to my Call of Duty days than I get to my maturity age, and that's very telling.
If Khonshu wants to give me his blessing,
Khonshu.
I ain't gonna complain.
Honks
30
you.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
If honks you.
Mira Luna, for someone who smiles so much, I can tell you're hiding a lot of sadness in your songs.
Listen to the lyrics, huh? I've lost a lot over the years, including my parents when I was young.
Lost my dad too. That's a wound you never heal from.
The battle
But I
starts
got
in
my mom,
5,
cousin,
4,
and crew.
3,
And I
2,
have my grandma
1.
and 4.
I you need to do is capture the
Actually, this is a
area.
very cute interaction. All right, I'm going this way, by the way. I'm going this way.
Heads up, bad guy.
Hello? I fucking... You gotta die. It's you who needs to die. It's you who needs to die. I don't even want to talk about it. All right, chat. I want to talk about it. I know it's a bot match too. I want to talk about it.
Be strong together.
That was so bad. I feel so bad for doing that. With no actual like good aiming.
Get that vehicle to its destination.
Wait, huh? Are there people just behind us? What the hell, bro?
Fight for the good guys next time. Feeling spectacular. Hey,
You're halfway there. Keep going.
Pikachu's got me.
I see shark. I get shark. Oh my god, he just appeared right behind me. Hello? There's someone behind us, isn't there? Why does he run and then get stuck? He just keeps running. Okay, I just wanted to do that so I can build up my demon power. Oh my god, hello? That felt like every time I ult I die. Yeah, I didn't do enough. I wasn't aiming well. Okay. Now stop DPS Luna and actually heal Luna. Okay, top DPS. Where? Let me see. Actually. Oh, it's Parrish. Yes. Yes, you can. Throw your balls. What the hell? Or whatever the fuck they have. I forgot what she has. Your snowballs. Throw your snowballs or shit. Don't throw your actual balls. Don't actually throw your balls. That's no, stop that. Seek help. That person's name is Fat
The
Cheeks.
right heroes could make all the difference.
They have the Scarlet Witch one. I'm gonna go Cyclops.
Victory is in my sight.
Actually, okay, they went Deadpool. Actually, Angel, do you want a Spider-Man on this? That might be a medical condition. No, do you? I can change. I don't mind. I don't care.
Be here, but she's always with me.
Here, I'll change.
Victory is-
No, go
They'll be coming
Spider-Man.
in 30 seconds. Stay
Go Spider-Man. I'll go Adam.
I can feel the presence of the goddess all around us.
Games are jumping too much?
We ain't
Okay.
taking applications right now, especially from small-time crooks.
I will bring peace
Let
to
me
this universe,
change.
no matter the cost.
Where is my boy Psyche Poo Poo Butt Cheeks?
She's always with me.
1.
I just haven't played Psych all day, that's all. I was like, let me play Psych finally.
What's wrong with purple? I like purple.
They don't have the other team up one, so it just frees me to do that. You know what? What's wild is
Moon Knight's up. Thanks for the boost.
I feel like I should have hit him and killed him, but it's okay. Oh, I like how the icon for the alt looks for that skin. That looks cool. I don't need your love. Yes, I do. Need your love. Sasuke! I was like, why can't I get out of that situation? Yes, sir!
That's 3.
Thanks for the boost.
Unicorn, I choose you.
How come I can't hit that?
This must be Moon Knight's doing.
Stop them in their tracks.
Maximum impact. Check out this spot.
Just in case. Yep.
I've got eyes on our enemy. Feeling exposed. Right on target.
Bitch ass. You know what? That's fine. I distracted them. Oh, that's right. They have Moon Knight. They must be running the Moon Knight good one. Did he change his? No, he's still running Scarlet Witch. If he changes,
Still a chance to stop them.
if he changes his team up to Moon Knight, oh. What the fuck you mean?
Now might be the time to stop them.
That should make a difference. Knew I saw it.
Do I have another one in me?
Double KO.
The professor didn't train quitters.
Oh, I thought it was the Moon Knight who did it. I'm not doing well.
Chimichanga's Cajun style.
1 second. I see what's his name up there.
Heal me up, please. I owe you. Big time.
Thank you. Damn, I didn't know Moon Knight was just on my butt like that. That was very unfortunate.
Still got some
Still a chance to stop them.
94% on my ult. I think that's his best line, honestly.
They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
I'm annoyed. I'm so fucking annoyed.
We X-Men beat death
I'm
a long
so
time
annoyed.
ago.
Mostly at myself, but I'm annoyed.
Better stop that vehicle.
This might be a good time to do this.
Stop them. I like it.
Where did Venom go? There it is.
That symbiote is. Better stop that vehicle.
You know what? Maybe I'm throwing. Maybe I'm the one throwing.
I'm an X-Man.
Out of the dark and into the light.
Face open. The moon haunts you. From the void.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Well, that's gonna have to do it for me. No, actually, seriously, that's gonna have to do it for me. I think I'm actually rival South. SVP though. Okay, one last time. Look. I want to see the cooking. I want to see the cooking. I'm skipping this song. Oh my god. Literally cooking. Literally cooking. That alt was everything, honestly. All right, let's watch Snoops. I'm saving the best for last. Not me. Oh, this is around when the alt happened. That team up was really nice. Or not team up, you know what I mean. All right, let's see me cook. It better be that 3-piece. It has to be the 3-piece, right? Excuse me. I missed so many shots here. They even have the thing on. See, yeah, I missed so many shots. there was no setup for that. And finally, see, best for last. Hold on, I think I'm getting so many messages.
Never miss.
Oh no. All right, thanks for games, y'all. Y'all were nice. Y'all were cool. Y'all were very nice, very cool, as usual. Damian Priest. Oh my god, he's crazy. He's in the game. Like EA Sports, he's in the game. I'm getting off this game though. For real, for real. I'm getting off this game for real, for real. It was a fun. Hood is fun. Hood is fun. Damian Priest did an okay job with the voice lines. There's some nice interactions with him and some of the other heroes and villains and such. So it's really nice. It's really nice to see Damian just kind of branch out, honestly. And maybe that's just like the biased wrestling fan in me talking, but it's really nice to see him, you know, branch out. It's you know, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to voice act. I can't do it, so I can't really say much about him. I can't say if he does a really terrible job, but some of them were kind of rough, for sure. I would say for sure some of them were kind of rough. Where's Lucian? I'm sending y'all to Lucian. Lucian is playing Fartnert, which is what we're. Oh, he just won, or he just lost one or two. I don't know. You know, he just lost. I will see y'all Monday. If I haven't hit 40 in OC by Monday, then I'll stream OC grind. I only have like one level left, so there's that. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate y'all. Y'all cute. Wait, is Lucian ending? Is Lucian ending? Hold on, I'm gonna cancel just in case. Just in case. Because I saw someone say bye-bye in their chat, and I was like, that's Akko Taco. Sending everyone their 17th cousin over, and then they're about to end. I'm gonna watch a little bit. If it isn't the charger in the charge point, what the hell? What the hell? Oh, maybe they are still playing. Okay. Also, they just started an hour ago. They normally go for like 3. Okay. I will see y'all Monday. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves, each other, most for your friends and family. Have a good weekend. I want to hear about it Monday. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love y'all. Bye. Damn, Beyonce kind of thick. Anyways.